Top 10 Unusual Laws from Around the World. Traveling around the world is one of the best experiences. Most people would love to explore different places to forget all the life troubles only to satisfy themselves when they move out of the doorstep. No matter how worse life is, but if you take a trip to your favorite destination, all your worries would vanish. As per the International SOS and Control Risks, India is a medium risk place to travel to. As you can see clearly in the map below, most of India is yellow, meaning it is a medium risk country to travel to. On the contrary, the places like Bihar, Jharkhand and some areas in the northeast have been categorized as high-risk zones. Case in point, when you travel to a new place, you will encounter a variety of cultures, some of which will intrigue you. Cultural rituals, unusual cuisine, and perplexing traffic conditions can all be part of the trip. Every country follows some rules that are often so ludicrous that you can't even picture them, but they are necessary for the residents of that place. There isn't a single country on the planet that hasn't outlawed at least one thing, and some of these bans are quite amusing. Bubble gum ban in Singapore. Chewing gum is banned in Singapore under the Regulation of Imports and Exports Chewing Gum Regulations. The ban, which includes all gum substances of vegetable or synthetic origin such as bubble gum and dental chewing gum, carries a hefty fine and possible jail term for those caught importing, selling or manufacturing chewing gum. One of the objectives of the ban was to prevent vandals from using spent chewing gums to disrupt mass rapid transit (MRT) services. Before the ban was enforced, there had been many instances in which vandals stuck chewing gum on door sensors of MRT trains, which prevented the doors from functioning properly and causing disruptions in train services. The chewing gum ban was implemented to eradicate problems created by chewing gum litter in public places like cinemas, parks and common areas of housing estates such as lifts, staircases and corridors, as well as the high costs involved to clean up the litter. The Housing and Development Board (HDB) reportedly spent 150,000 Singapore dollars annually to clean up chewing gum litter. The various problems created by chewing gum litter and the idea of banning chewing gum were first raised in 1983 by then Minister for Foreign Affairs and Culture S. Dhanabalan. In the 1980s, before the ban came into effect on 3 January 1992, the government had already implemented some controls over the sale of chewing gum. The then Singapore Broadcasting Corporation, now known as MediaCorp, was prohibited from showing commercials that promoted the sale of chewing gum, while school tuck shops were told to stop selling chewing gum to students. Public reaction to the chewing gum ban was divided. Supporters of the ban, including Singapore Mass Rapid Transit, the Consumers Association of Singapore, cinemas and cleaners, felt that the ban would help get rid of a perennial nuisance, and in turn improve the cleanliness of public places. Critics of the ban felt that it was too sudden and harsh. They proposed that a more pragmatic approach be adopted, such as public education or heavier fines imposed on those who failed to dispose their chewing gum appropriately. The ban was also unpopular with chewing gum distributors, including provision shops, convenience stores and supermarkets, as they had to get rid of their chewing gum stocks at a loss. Despite the criticisms, the government went ahead with the chewing gum ban, as public education did not produce the desired effect. The ban proved effective in reducing the number of chewing gum litter cases. For instance, in February 1993, the average number of cases per day was just 2 compared with 525 before the ban. With the drastic reduction in chewing gum litter, town councils reported huge savings in cleaning costs. In March 2004, the chewing gum ban was partially lifted after the government allowed the sale of gum under the free trade agreement signed with the United States of America. However, the permitted gums were restricted to those with therapeutic value such as nicotine gum and oral dental gum. It's illegal to feed pigeons in Venice. If you've ever fed pigeons before, be warned, it could mean you part with wads of hard-earned cash, that is if you do it in St. Mark's Square, located in the center of Venice. City officials banned the common practice of feeding the local pigeons that frequent the square, in a bid to stop the flying rodents ruining their UNESCO status city. The ban has been in effect since 2008, and offending can land you a bill for anything up to £622, €700, roughly the cost of a 6-night stay in one of the city's best value hotels. If you are lucky, you might be fined nearer the lower end, a still painful £62, €70, the cost of 3 Bellinis at Flash Venice venue, Harry's Bar. It has previously been estimated there are 40,000 pigeons living in Venice's 2.5 square miles, although this figure may have dropped since the ban. The birds have been a major problem for the city, costing each Venetian taxpayer a whopping €275 a year. They are blamed for spreading dirt and feces around the city, ruining the valued facades and monuments in the process. Back in July, thousands of Venetian locals campaigned against the huge numbers of tourists in their city, complaining of the associated rising house prices and convenience shops being replaced for tourist shops. Chickens crossing the road. You've violated the law. Why did the chicken cross the road? Who knows? But you better think twice if you own chickens in Quitman, Georgia. It's illegal to let them cross the road. It's illegal for the birds to walk across an open road. The law is designed to ensure that farm animals aren't running about freely. However, the law mentions only fowl. Cows, pigs, and other animals are apparently free to continue crossing back and forth at will. It is illegal to pass wind in public in Florida. There is some debate over this one. It certainly is a forgotten law and has never really been enforced in Florida. It was probably written in the 1800s and forgotten since. It is not clear why this ever became a law or a rumored law in the first place. However, Florida has a reputation for being a very bizarre and unusual state, and some of the weird laws include fining women if they are found asleep under the hair dryer, skateboarding without a license, paying for the parking meter if you tie an elephant, goat or alligator around it, selling oranges on a sidewalk, and many others. An unwashed car in Dubai can cost you a hefty fine. Owners who leave unkempt vehicles in public parking places in Dubai will have to shell out dirham 500 as fine if caught by the city's image-conscious authorities, according to a media report. Dubai municipality explained that leaving their vehicle parked on public parking spaces can tarnish the aesthetic appearance of the city, and issued the reminder to residents who might be planning a long trip abroad during their summer holiday. According to a rule issued by the municipality, residents will be issued with a dirham 500, approximately 10,000 rupees, fine if they leave their vehicle parked on public parking spaces, and leave it unwashed for a long period of time, the report said. Once the unkempt car has been identified, inspectors will stick a notice on the vehicle's windshield. Drivers will then have 15 days to clean the vehicle. Otherwise, the car will be impounded by authorities. If motorists fail to respond within this period, the vehicle will be confiscated and shifted to the scrap yard. And if the owner of the vehicle still refuses to pay the fine, the vehicle will be sold at auction, said Al Saifeh, director of Dubai Municipality's Waste Management Department. The municipal inspectors will target such vehicles that may look damaged, vandalized, or have been stationary for a long time, and then a violation notice will be issued by putting a warning sticker on the car. Winnie the Pooh banned in Poland. Some town councilors in Poland don't want beloved storybook character Winnie the Pooh as a playground mascot. The so-called bear of very little brain apparently doesn't have enough clothes. The tubby little cubby, based on an actual bear named after Winnipeg, was suggested at a meeting of the council in Tuszyn, a small town in central Poland, to be the face of a new public playground, according to media reports in the United Kingdom. That prompted anger from some councillors, who called Pooh inappropriate. The problem with that bear is it doesn't have a complete wardrobe, said Count Richard Sicci. It is half naked, which is wholly inappropriate for children. Poland's fictional bear is dressed from head to toe, unlike Pooh, who is only dressed from the waist up. It was suggested that the playground be named after Ms. Uszatek, a Polish children's character, also a bear, that is fully dressed. The meeting of officials was sneakily recorded by a councillor and leaked to local press, according to the Croatian Times. Pooh made his debut in a collection of stories by A.A. Milne in 1926. At that time, he was completely in the buff. In 1961, when Walt Disney licensed the rights and made a series of cartoon films about him, Pooh was outfitted with his now familiar red shirt. Winnipeg Mayor Brian Bowman offered his own irreverent take on the issue in a statement sent to CBC News. Clearly, Winnie is a cartoon bear who doesn't wear pants, but I'd like to note that the beloved Disney characters Donald Duck and Chip and Dale, the Rescue Rangers, are also pantless, Mickey Mouse doesn't wear a shirt, and Tony the Tiger is nearly nude, he stated. Should they be banned as well? Winnipeg is a tolerant and accepting community, and I hope that Winnie continues to teach children about kindness and friendship for years to come. This is a children's character. It's fictional. Come on, let's be serious here, said Taylor. Let's stop wasting people's time and get into the real things that matter in life. It's illegal to wear high heels to the Acropolis. Fancy high heels at Greece's ancient sites. This is not a good idea for several reasons. In fact, it is forbidden since 2009. Here is why. Everywhere you go, you should always bring the right shoes, and this rule especially applies when you're in Greece. Some of the country's most famous ancient monuments do not allow visitors to wear high heels. Authorities put the ban in place in 2009, according to The Independent, since sharp-soled shoes were adding to the wear and tear of national treasures. Female visitors must wear shoes that do not wound the monuments, Eleni Korka, director of Greek prehistoric and classical antiquities, told the Daily Mail in 2009. These monuments have a skin that suffers and people must realize that. Luckily, there are plenty of stylish options when it comes to comfortable shoes. If you need inspiration, you can get it from celebrities like Reese Witherspoon and Rihanna, who know how to be comfy and chic, and considerate of ancient monuments. The no heels rule is not the only one tourists will run into while sightseeing in Greece, either. If you're planning on going to some ancient sites, don't bring in any food or drink, and that includes gum. Models of the House of Chanel and Karl Lagerfeld wore high heels in ancient ambiance, but it was just a recreation of the ancient ruins of Acropolis and Cape Sunion in the majestic Galerie Courbe of the Grand Palais in Paris. No selfie with Buddha. This is a very important travel tip if you go to Sri Lanka. Sri Lankans can get seriously upset if you take a photo of yourself when turning your back to Buddha. You have varying degrees of how people expect you to behave as a visitor. In Thailand, for instance, turning your foot sole towards people is considered very disrespectful. But in Sri Lanka, you should be very aware when taking photos of yourself. In Sri Lanka, it's considered very disrespectful to take a photo of yourself when turning your back to a Buddha statue. So do never ever take a photo of yourself or your friends when standing in front of Buddha. Sri Lankans will not just get upset. They will speak up against it. And if the police see you doing it, they will confiscate your camera and go through all the photos. And delete the photos they consider inappropriate. When you visit a foreign country, the last thing you want to be a stupid tourist. So try to observe these basic rules, even if they might seem silly to you. And in Sri Lanka, one of the most important things is not turning your back to Buddha when taking a photo. Sri Lankans are extremely friendly and hospitable people. So it would be such a shame both for you and them, if you end up upsetting them. All because you were turning your back to Buddha when you took a selfie. This should not deter you from visiting Sri Lanka though. It's a super friendly country, with a population that is very welcoming. And the island is very diverse. It's simply one of the best places in the world to visit. It's illegal to build sandcastles in Spain. Tourists who build sandcastles at the seacoast of Magaluf in Majorca will be penalized. The announcement was made on the 3rd of May 2017 by the administration of Spanish municipality of Calvia. Restrictions on building sand castles are not the only measure undertaken by local authorities. Thank you for watching.